Good day, everyone. Good day, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. I'd like to, before I start, to thank everyone who has been watching and also engaging me on the comments. I really appreciate it, and I hope I don't let you down. So let's get straight away. So today's topic is the price cap of Russian oil and gas into the market. This is a proposal that has been put forward by the G7 and the EU. It was being floated some months back, but they had to go back and look at how they were going to go about it and which is the possible way, or and also look at the outcome. So when the war started, Russia was sanctioned, so it couldn't sell oil to Europe and USA. Their banks were sanctioned, their energy companies were sanctioned, like Gazprom. So they found another market, which was China and India. And so the G7 and the European Union felt that Russia is still getting money from oil to fund its war in Ukraine. So the aim here is they're planning to put a price cap, price cap meaning that if oil and gas, if, let's say, for example, oil is going for $100 a barrel or 140, and then they make sure that all people who are party to this price cap, all the countries involved, let's say the EU and the G7 countries, will say we are only buying your oil at $40 a barrel, regardless even if it goes 140 or 150. So the aim of this is uh, to ensure that Russia doesn't make enough profit, but also it doesn't make a loss. It makes just enough to continue oil production, but not enough to sustain the war. And this eventually will hurt its economy. And probably it might even, when the economy is hurt, the ripple effect might even affect how they operate in the war. Currently, Russia spends about $3 to $4 per barrel through mining. So the reasoning is that even if they put a price cap of $30 per barrel, Russia is still making profit because they spend 3 to 4. But when you compare with a country like Saudi Arabia is the only country that has really perfected oil engineering. Saudi Arabia spends $1 to $2 per mining a barrel. So you can see when oil shoots up, especially right now, how much this country in terms of profit they are making. So even Russia, even though it's selling discounted oil to China and India, they're still making a lot of money because the discount that they are giving is between $18 to $25. So a barrel now, let's say it's 100, they're selling it at 75. So they're making very, very good money, 75, 78 um, dollars a barrel, and they're mining it for $3 to $4. So the price cap is intended to limit Putin's coffers and for him not to get access to money. But pundits are saying it won't be able to work because even though you have the European Union, the G7 suggesting it will be very hard to put everyone on the table because a country like Germany is not open to it for now. You go to the countries in Eastern European, like Hungary, one of them, it's not also open because Russia has threatened anyone who supports this oil cap, immediately their gas and energy will be shut down, and also country don't want to face this because once your energy is cut down, you cannot operate. So Russia said they'd rather not produce oil rather than selling it at the price of the price that the G7 are suggesting suggesting. And also for the price cap to work, they need to to re-engineer their sanctions again, and to redo the sanctions that they had applied on oil on the Russian government so that they can accommodate the new sanctions on price cap. And for that to happen, they need all the European countries to be unanimous. And as you know now, not all of them are supporting this move, so it will be very hard. But that's one of the first roadblock. And that's why Pundit are saying when you see that the G7 and these European countries are pushing for this, it means they've realized sanctions have failed. And also this probably is another uh, wild goose chase. And another reason is because if you put a price cap, it will do the other effect. It will do the reverse. Oil will shoot up very high because as we speak now, OPEC Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries have decided to reduce how much oil they output in a day. In a day by 100,000 barrels. So this will increase the price because the demand is already high. You must remember that demand this year of energy has gone up drastically because the last 2 years the country has most the first year 2020 of the whole world was in lockdown last year most of the country. So this is when the world is coming, is waking up, people businesses are starting, so the demand of oil has been very high. So if you put a price cap and the Russian government decided to sell, there will be a big deficit in the oil market. And we know that Venezuela did run out of sanctions. So this is a gap that cannot be filled because uh, uh, the world consumes 100 million barrels a day. Russia produces 10% of that, which is 10 million barrels. So that 10 million barrels out of the market will be a gap that cannot be filled, and it will push economies into recession, and prices will soar. And only Saudi Arabia, Middle East, and these other countries will be making so much money because we have established that their cost of production is very low. Another thing, if you put the price cap, it create it creates like a, a black market, because now what happens is that marketers will be buying oil from Russia. You see tankers, everyone just they will all stop buying oil from Saudi Arabia, from all these countries, and they'll go and buy oil and gas from Russia at that price, and then they'll come and sell to the world 3 times, 5 times more than the price, and even make more money. And also, when you push this kind of policy, you might even end up losing allies, because once you put a price cap on Russia and everybody runs to buy Russian oil, Saudi Arabia won't be sold. Saudi Arabia is an American ally. Qatar won't be able to sell gas. Nigeria, these countries, and you don't want to anger them because of or create more conflict on top of the conflict that you're already in, and you're already engaging with Russia. You don't want again to start the pot. You already have issues with China. So, and this is the time that you need allies. You don't want to be losing allies. So this is a very risky gamble, because at the end of the day, it might bring a lot of uncertainty. And oil caps have been tried before, and they've never worked. You looked at 1970, America tried. The price of oil went up like crazy. Britain has tried before. Mexico has tried. So when you see, this is something that has been tried and it cannot work, because the oil market is, I'll say, it's very capitalistic. People take advantage of the situation just to make money. We saw how China is buying LNG and selling it to Europe. India was also when you're selling petrochemicals to Europe by buying Russian gas. And another thing, for this sanction also price cap to work, you need India and China on board, because they are the largest consumers of energy, especially from Russia. So you need them on board. And if they are not on board, then it's very hard to convince people that this price cap will work, because at the end of the day, they are the ones that are consuming Russian energy. Because if they come on board, then it means that you know because Japan will support South Korea. So it means that almost 3/4 of consumers of energy are on board of this. But then again, also Russians threatened to cut gas, and then they won't like that's something they are not willing to risk, because they're already getting it at a discounted price and selling it. So it's better they stay with the deal now rather than go for the deal that looks very lucrative but could cost more. They say all that shines is not gold. So you might see that the price cap is a very good deal, because they'll be buying oil at $30 and selling rather than buying 70 per barrel. And then you go there, and then Russia, the geopolitical games changes, because you cannot explain the future, or interpret the future. So, and also, Moscow and India have military ties. India is one of the largest arms buyers of Russia. They are working together in military expertise. You know, Russian and Indian military scientists are creating missiles, the BrahMos. You know, they have started production. They're even looking for buyers. So the relationship between India and Russia is very tight, and I don't think they will want to risk that. So you see, even India has been very neutral on this issue. It hasn't been picking side. You go to the other side, China, Beijing, and Russia are very good friends. Putin and Xi, their buddies. They visited each other for more than 40 times since 2012. I think that's the highest, one of the, if not the highest, of high-level leaders visiting each other. It shows how close they are. So at this point, I feel that the price cap is it's not realistic. The Secretary Yellen, the Treasury of the America has been pushing for it to happen, but it hasn't come to fruition. When you look at how America is trying to bring the other countries, America is also in talks in Canada with Canada, but already these countries have sanctioned Russia, so it won't affect. So for these sanctions to work, they need to bring India and China on board and some other countries for it to work. Another step they are trying to do is now, uh, try and use the insurance company. The largest ship insurance company is in Britain, so it insures 95% of all ships in the world. So what they are doing is they are revoking insurance and sanctioning. So if you're a shipping company and you're carrying Russian oil, you're sanctioned. You can't get insurance from this company, from the British, because they control 95% of the insurance in the world. So if you carry Russian oil, if you're a Russian ship, immediately uh, Russian ships that little the war started, Russian ships were sanctioned and the insurance were revoked. So they're revoking insurance to ensure that it's very hard to trade and do this business. But the reason why Britain controls 95% of all insurance is because you must remember that Britain was a naval superpower. During its colonial empire, they had colonies all the way in China, especially Hong Kong, Africa, so South Africa. So you can see that they had one of the biggest navies. So this has resulted in the expertise and knowing how to manage shipping lanes and understanding ship technology, especially when it comes to the side of commercial like insurance. So this this is a bit tricky because immediately insurances were revoked. Uh, the Russian government started itself, especially the central bank, uh, started under the Russian National Reinsurance Company started offering insurance to these ships. And also there were bilateral deals where a country like India offered insurance for these ships to bring oil, and also China to do the same. Where probably the insurance couldn't raise capital, the government said they'll stand on behalf of these insurance companies. And when you're working with the marine business, or ship business, the insurance is usually third party, from to protect from injury and environmental damage. So so even now, because the insurance card was their last one of their best cards, it seems not to be working because Russia has found a way to work even bilateral with government, making assurances to Chinese government will bring the oil. You just let's work a deal at how we can ensure these ships, and also with India. And they have been operating, they have been selling well. The same deal, it's not new because the same kind of deal was struck when Iran was under sanctions, because Iran was under sanction, when it was under sanction 2012, it was selling oil to Japan, to, to India. And their shipping companies were sanctioned. They couldn't get insurance from Western companies, but Japan offered. And the government of Japan came in and stepped in and decided to offer insurance, to cover the liabilities as long as they keep bringing the oil, and India did the same. So it's not something new. So when you look at the oil price cap, uh, I think it will be very hard unless you involve the two most high energy consumer country, which are China and India. I think that can become feasible, and most African countries are also very neutral. They are 50-50. South Africa is importing Russian oil also, so it will be very hard for Europe and the America to come with this concrete plan. I feel their best plan is just to win off Russian energy completely by the deadlines they've given themselves, especially with December 1. I think that's more feasible. Then from there, now they can progress in a way that they ensure that they are not dependent anymore on Russian oil and try and look for other markets. They are trying to get a pipeline from Nigeria to Europe, Senegal to Europe. There's one from. I think that's a more realistic need rather than trying to fight, because at the end of the day, the, the countries that they are trying to convince to stay away from Russia, are countries that are in good relationship with Russia. So it's very hard. And at the new geopolitical world, it's not the world of 1950s where USSR and America used to control the world, where used to tell a country do this, it has. We are now in a multipolar world where many countries are starting to gain economic and military power and rising up. So it's hard for one country to say do this. And we saw how the European Union and the Americans were trying to pressure India, stop buying Russian oil, stop buying. But it was very hard because we are now in a multipolar world. Each country now operates on its own interest. You can't tell me not to buy Russian oil, yet my people, like how the foreign minister of India was saying, uh, uh, you know, GDP per capita of India is $2,000. So if you tell me not to buy Russian oil, which is cheap, to buy Middle East oil, American oil, which is expensive, the people of India will, you know, there might even be riots, revolution, will starve, will die, because for $2,000 GDP per capita, that's barely people can afford. So now countries are operating in their own interest. So I think we need to look at how we can do and ensure that just to look at a world that we can live together and try to understand each other. But the price cap for me, I think it's not realistic. And for me, I think the best way is just to win themselves from Russian energy and gas. I think that's the best strategy. Uh, all in all, I'll just wait and see how it goes. You know, let's see how it goes, because who thought that we'll be here where Russia has attacked Ukraine, full sanctions are on it. Let's see how it goes. Probably it will change, but all in all, wish everyone the best. Thank you and cheers. Uh, Safe, guys.